So you can see what we're harvesting today. This is some of the mimosa, looks beautiful. Smells great. Too bad you can't smell it.
We need smell-o-vision.
Yeah. Well, we keep everything in here as clean as possible. We replace anything that doesn't perform up to our standards. All these plants are constantly being tested for any viruses or diseases. But as far as just seeing if a disease is present or not, that's a yes or a no. So anything that's got a virus, that's gone. Anything that doesn't perform the way we want it to, that's gone. We bring in something better. As you can see, the plants are very clean, very healthy, very green. So we start obviously with those mothers that you saw, and we take the clones off of there. A room like this has, let's say, approximately 2,000 plants. So we bring the 2,000 clones into here. We pot them up. We put the trellis up. We start them off with about a week to 2 weeks of veg, but let's call it 10 days of veg. And then we flip the lights from an 18-hour cycle to a 12-hour cycle, and then they go into flowering. But we're only vegging here for about a week, 2 weeks max, and everything is a flower in place. So we try to do everything as efficiently as possible, keep the plants as happy as possible. So every room is on its own dedicated HVAC. We're able to hold the environments here as well as save energy. We built our own energy plant here on site. So we have a cogen natural fired energy plant so we can recapture all the heat that is usually just dissipated and reuse that in our HVAC system. So we're super efficient here. We recapture all our condensate as well, which is about 90% of the water that goes into the plants. Basically is transpired by the plants and is recaptured and goes through that reverse osmosis filter to go back to the watering stage again.
And when do you know the ideal time to harvest?
Well, we try to keep them on about a 9-week schedule. I've been doing this long enough where I can walk into a room and tell you just by looking at a plant. But you want to see that the trichomes are starting to turn from clear to an amber color. I want to know that these buds are dense and not loose and airy. Yeah, they got another couple weeks to go, and we'll be harvesting these as well. You can pretty much look at it, but obviously the lab test will tell you at the end of the day, with some accuracy, how nice that plant is. But anything that doesn't perform like this, it looks pretty good, but I'm thinking we can get better. I'm thinking we could probably replace this with something better, as good as it does look. We grow all in cocoa, keep it natural, 2 emitters per pot, couple feedings per day. So Canatrol is who designed this drying and curing area here for us. They're from the meat and cheese industry. So they originally were curing meat and cheese, and they've been doing that for decades. So then they came over to the cannabis space and were able to use that experience to design proper drying and cure rooms for the cannabis industry, which we sorely needed.
And they're killing it in the business. I mean, everybody knows Canatrol.
Now people are starting to realize that this is a very important part of the process and they shouldn't be cutting corners on it. So yeah, this is the reverse osmosis filter right here. We got the 3 8,000 gallon stock tanks right here. There's a 20,000 gallon condensation tank buried outside.
Here is an ERU, or energy recovery unit. One of these units is dedicated to each of our flowering rooms, and our mother rooms each have one as well. This is what is needed to hold an environment correctly. You have a heat exchange inside these where the hot humid air is being pulled out of the flowering or mother room, coming in to the unit and hitting a 46-degree coil that is chilled by our cold water, and then returns to the room the cool, dry air. So it's a closed loop system, very efficient and very effective. Here's the chiller plant again, and the cogen natural fired energy plant. Ducting goes underground here, comes back up right here, and brings the cold water to this bank of energy recovery units, just like the one I showed you earlier. Each one of these is dedicated to one room inside.
So we can recapture all the condensate. That condensate, whether it's city water or condensate, is coming back through the reverse osmosis and then shot over to the Argus fertigation skid, which is actually on this side. Argus picks up the nutrients from the nutrient stock tanks. We correctly pH the water. We get the water at the correct temperature, and then we shoot it off to the zones. Each one of these lines is dedicated to its own room, so you can have different recipes for each room. But once we pick out that recipe and shoot it out, it goes through here and directly into the rooms, to the emitters, and into the plants.